Whenever you see a top flight athlete get hurt and he's like, yeah, it's probably from blowing my nose and coughing, I'm like, all right, I don't feel too bad.
He's just like me. He's just like me.
Welcome to the Rival Fantasy Baseball live stream. I am Neil. He is Brian. What up, Brian?
Not too much, Neil. How you doing, man?
Not much, man. We come on here beat, battered, and bruised. I'm bleeding. You're tired. You've been moving all week. We're still here, man. We're still here for the live show.
We're here for the people, man. We do it for the people.
Nothing a couple error ones can't fix.
That'll wake you up. That'll get you.
So listen, man, fantasy baseball, another week has gone by. What are we in, week 4 already?
Already. Somehow we are already in week 4.
This is crazy.
It's flying by.
This is crazy. This is crazy. But, we got plenty to get into. There's plenty to talk about. There's plenty of news. There's plenty of waivers. There's plenty of players who have been playing out of their mind. There's so much to cover. So as always, if you're new to the show, please go ahead and like the episode, subscribe to the channel. Subscribers keep going up, so we appreciate the support. We appreciate the love that you guys are showing. It lets us know we're doing something right, so we're going to keep on doing it. Of course, you can follow us on social at Rival Fantasy on all the different platforms, so we highly encourage you to do that. And of course, we're brought to you by Rival Fantasy, which means you should go to rivalfantasy.com or download the app, create an account, and start playing. It's important because if you're watching live, we play a lot of the games from the site. And so you can play along and join us in the games and do all kinds of stuff. So definitely don't miss that part. All right, Brian, listen, you're freshly moved. You're freshly settled in. I'm over here beaten bruised, but we got Rivals of the Week to get to.
We do a lot. I mean, so many options this week, man. Like we could have probably done about 10 of each. So.
Yeah. I was definitely having a tough time picking through them, leaving some of my favorite teams players off, your favorite teams players off. I try not to get too biased, but there's names that are definitely worth mentioning. We try to narrow them down to 3 because that's the rules of the Rivals of the Week. We 3 hitters, 3 pitchers. We don't go above that because there has to be a limit. There has to be a cutoff.
Yep, we gotta edit ourselves. That's the name of the game.
Yeah. So let's start with an Atlanta Brave, Marcell Ozuna.
Yeah, Braves needed some good news, and Marcell I think the DH, the universal DH, is the best thing to ever happen to Marcell Ozuna, man. He's just absolutely smacking the ball right now. 7 home runs, leading the MLB this season. 11 hits, 11 RBIs last week, 3 home runs last week. Unbelievable. I mean, and in a lineup that's already stacked top to bottom. It's good to see this guy. He's had his off-field issues, and it's good to see him performing on the field and making those of us who invested in him, not regret that decision so far.
Yeah, 11 hits, 3 home runs, 11 RBIs, 4 runs. He leads Major League Baseball. He's tied for 7 home runs as the leaders. And again, for these, every time I do Rivals of the Week, we're going 7 days back. So basically, we could push it. If I add an extra day and it's even crazier if I take away a day, but I basically go a week from, what is it? Monday to Sunday kind of is what I do. Yeah. So, and again, if you're talking about a team who needs to get right or a player who needs to get right, I guess the Mets and Marlins are a perfect recipe for that.
Yeah.
Because that's
unfortunately it's and that division, it should be competitive on paper, but the Braves and the Phillies are having their way with that division right now.
Yeah. All right, the next man on the list, a very popular name, an exciting player, one of the most exciting players in baseball, I think. I don't think it's really debatable. Elly Cruz.
He's doing it all, man. He's hitting, he's running. He's a speedster with power, which you love to see a 5-tool player, young 5-tool player on a team that, again, another lineup that, Cincinnati, we thought they'd be fighting some injuries, but they have come out swinging and literally, and Elly is proof of that. So.
Yeah, 8 hits, 4 home runs, 7 RBIs, 8 runs on a stolen base. So
yeah,
again,
and, I mean, he's like I said, he's filling the stat sheet. He's filling every category you could possibly want out of an offensive player. So good to see. Those of us who, if you invested in him early, there were some concerns he may not live up to the hype, but he has definitely done it so far.
Yeah, and the last one on the list for the hitters, Williams, Contreras, Brewers, killing it.
Yeah. It's nice to see catchers doing that. We like having catchers with good performances, and William Contreras, he's starting to outshine his brother. He did it last year and he's doing it again. So, and the Brew Crew, sneaky good team still. They're still performing even after getting rid of Corbin Burns. So, and they're bouncing back with some questionable pitching in the rotation. And, Contreras is a big reason for that.
Yeah, and his stat line that I jotted down here was 9 hits, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, 9 runs, and a stolen base. And if we were to look at just Sunday, 4-7, which I didn't make the cut here, 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 home runs, and 5 RBIs.
An unbelievable day for him yesterday. It's just it just gets crazier and crazier the more you add up his stats. So if you were able to snag him as your catcher, I'm not usually an advocate for early catcher unless you're getting one of these top guys, and he was one of them. So you're sitting pretty if you got William Contreras on your squad.
And then we move over to the pitchers. The first one on here, Jose Berrios, Toronto. He got 2 wins. I don't know how many pitchers got 2 wins last week. He might have been the only one.
I think he was. If he wasn't the only one, he was one of a very small number. And I believe they went into Coors and got his second win. Against the Rockies, which was very impressive. And the Rockies are a middling offense right now, but it's tough to go into Coors regardless. So, good to see. I think the Blue Jays needed something to really latch onto in their rotation. It's been kind of touch and go. Kevin Gausman's always kind of on the will he, won't he side of things. So Jose Berrios, he's a stud, and I think he was really disrespected in drafts this year. So, he's one of those guys, if you were trying to buy him low, I think that window has kind of slammed shut. So he's an ace, without a doubt.
Yeah, because he definitely wasn't one that I've seen a lot of people. It was mostly, I think, what was it, Gausman, maybe Bassett was typically the second Blue Jays pitcher I've seen going off. I didn't see Berrios going off at second most.
Which I never understood because they went out, they got Berrios from, I believe he was with the Reds. I'm sure the comments will correct me if I'm misremembering that. They love to do
always
that.
do.
But when they went to get him, they went to get him as their guy. And I know Gausman won a Cy Young more recently, but Berrios has always been the dude for them. And I think that he's showing why they have confidence in him to be the anchor for their rotation.
Yeah. And live fact check for you, Minnesota.
Minnesota, thank you. Yeah,
no problem.
I don't know who I keep getting him confused with. Luis Castillo. I always confuse them for whatever reason. So Luis Castillo played for the Reds. Yeah, there we go.
That's fair. Next pitcher on the list, Tyler Glasnow.
Look, when he's healthy, he's the man. And when you have that lineup behind you in LA, it's hard to bet against him. And again, if he stays healthy, Tyler Glasnow should be a perennial top 5 pitcher in the NL. I don't know why he couldn't be.
Yeah. 14 strikeouts, man, that last game.
And he's pitching tonight too, which, it's we were so close to a 2-start week last week, but there's a world where he might sneak in on Sunday. I don't know what they're planning to do this week with him, but Tyler Glasnow, just, you don't, when you're playing against the house tends to win. And that's Tyler Glasnow for you.
Yeah, he'll be a popular pitcher today, especially for, the different games on Rival, challenges, that kind of stuff. He'll be a popular option. I think he'll probably be the most popular option, more than likely.
I would assume so. He's definitely one of the top 3 pitchers going today that I'm targeting pretty much everywhere.
Don't target him in drafts with me, man. Don't target him in drafts with me. No. I'm looking at Nola, too. Nola has a good matchup. So
Nola's got a great matchup, too. Yeah. And we'll get into some of the juicy matchups.
I'm already getting ahead of myself here. All right, and the last one, Reid Detmers. Probably the most surprising on the list, maybe. Starting off the season pretty hot, so...
The Angels they're not doing terribly. The AL West has been a very strange division so far. I think the Rangers are winning the division, but they're at 500. They're 8-8. Everyone else is under 500 right now. So it's interesting to see the Angels in second place behind them at 7-8 right now. They've been hitting. Their pitching has looked pretty solid. So it's, Reid Detmers is definitely a guy everyone thought he would be an ace on this squad. And he just keeps, it seems like he gets better and better every game. So good to see from him. And again, I know the Angels fans are probably going to come for me eventually, but it's just good for them to have something to root for. I know the Ohtani thing was really tough. It's a very difficult thing to lose. Mike Trout's health has been concerning the last few seasons, so good to see them have some bright spots.
Rendon's issues.
Yeah.
Not something, it's a lot going on there, man. It's a lot.
The Angels are a bit of a enigma, but we can rely on Reid Detmers to perform when he's on the mound.
So. Yeah, they deserve something positive over there.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for the rivals of the week for our hitters and pitchers. Obviously, again, those are our 3 players at each, big important positions, hitters and pitchers that we feel deserved a round of applause for last week. So shout out to them. Shout out to you if you had them on your lineups or if you used them in any rival games. You hopefully came away with some W's. All right, let's move over to news and injuries.
There it is.
All right, number 1 on the list, Jordan Montgomery.
It's coming. He's here.
He's here.
I don't know. We don't know the exact day, but the Diamondbacks manager Tori Laveau said that he's probably going to start this week. He's made his minor league quote unquote rehab or stretch starts. He's been getting blown up a little bit in AAA and in the minors, but it doesn't really matter when you're just trying to get stretched out. So, again, it's good for the Diamondbacks because Eduardo Rodriguez, he strained his lat during spring training, still is not throwing, or he was shut down, so he's not throwing again. So they need rotation help. So it's really good for the Diamondbacks to get Montgomery up. Zach Gallen can't do it all on his own. It feels like he's trying to win 5 games every time he goes out on the mound. So this is really good for the Diamondbacks to try to defend their title as NL champions.
Yeah, and they're saying it's apparently possibly on Friday against the Giants. Do you trust him out the gate, or are you a wait and see kind of guy in terms of, we're talking about even in fantasy in season long, but also just in again, challenges, best ball, stuff like that. Are you willing to take the chance on him if it is Friday against the Giants, or are you kind of wait and see?
I will probably throw him in some bingo lineups. I think if you're not going challenges, if you're not relying on him in if you're in a points deficit, probably not going to rely on him. Wait and see, especially in season long. But I think for challenges and for your bingo dart throws, I'll probably take a shot on Jordan Montgomery for sure. Especially because it's prime time. They're playing in San Francisco. They get the late game on Friday, and he's playing Blake Snell. Blake Snell got blown up his last game, so Montgomery could at least come away with a dub.
Yeah. Blake Snell had a rough outing after we talked him up too.
Yeah.
All right. Next point on the list, Carlos Correa. Me and you had discussed him a lot, especially when we were doing best balls during the offseason. We were snagging him late in drafts. Again, he was just a guy that, we were taking shots on. We knew the risk. We knew the danger of drafting him, but we did take shots on him sometimes. Another injury.
Yep. It's sounding like I don't know if he's going to necessarily land on the IL. Now there's conflicting reports that it's not as serious as we originally thought a few days ago. But, he's probably still going to be on the IL, but if he does, it'll be minimal stint with the oblique. But it's just another tally in the list of why we're starting to pivot away from Carlos Correa as a perennial top 5 shortstop. He just cannot stay healthy, and this is why, like you said, Neil, he was a late round flyer. He was a guy, if you punted shortstop or if you were looking for kind of an upside infield pick for your utilities in best ball, this is the guy you went with. But you also knew going in that the odds of him getting injured are pretty high. He is a guy I will call injury prone. I don't love doing it, but I think we could say it at this point. So yeah, just unfortunate for him and for the Twins. He's an important piece of that lineup, obviously. So just it makes the lineup worse overall. But then this could open up some, because now the Twins are without Royce Lewis and they're without Carlos Correa, so that left side of the infield is weaker, and the lineup is weaker as a result.
Yeah, I did see him. It was a couple of days ago saying that he said, I was already feeling kind of tight on the sides going into the game. And it says Carlos Correa says his oblique strain probably was impacted by coughing and blowing his nose as part of being sick for the past week.
Yeah, he's we don't have to blow our nose that hard, Carlos. It's okay. Trust me, I get it. When you're blowing and going, those allergies, that sickness, it gets to you. But I mean, what's next? Is he going to crack a rib from sneezing? He's the one that got a rib crack from a massage. So, we don't know. Maybe his bones are made of glass. I'm not really sure. But just we want Carlos Correa healthy, because baseball is better when Carlos Correa is.
Listen, shout out to Carlos Correa for making me feel human, man.
Yeah, no, he is relatable. If nothing else, that's so true. Yeah. Baseball players get hurt doing stuff just like we do. Just
Yeah,
like
exactly.
the
Whenever
rest
you
of
see
us.
a top flight athlete get hurt, and he's like, "Yeah, it's probably from blowing my nose and coughing," I'm like, "All right, I don't feel too bad."
He's just like me, man. He's just like me.
All right, third guy on the list, Cody Bradford,
Yeah.
IL.
So this was probably yesterday morning. He went on the IL, lower back tightness. Bruce Bochy had already said he was going to stick in the rotation even when Michael Lorenzen came back, which he's coming back today, and we'll talk about that later. But yeah, so just kind of stinks to see a guy Southpaw who was performing really well early on goes to the IL, but I assume will be a minimal stay. Thankfully, it's not an arm injury. Thankfully, the elbow is not part of this IL stint. So, just something to keep an eye on as far as what are the Rangers going to do with their rotation. And then they're also calling up Cole Winn. He was a first round pick in, I think, 2018. I don't think he's pitched in the majors yet. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with him, if he's going to be kind of a long reliever out of the bullpen, or if they're going to give him a spot start, maybe an opener slot. So something to keep an eye on just for the reigning champions of how's their rotation going to shake out with this loss.
I did want to mention too, because I play fantasy basketball. That just finished up. I play, we obviously play fantasy football, but like basketball, for instance, like depending on your league and everything, you can like drop players, pick them up 2 days later. You kind of like, even no matter who they are, like as long as they're not the elite of the elite, right? Like you're like, I need to play a guy that can play. This guy might be hurt, whatever. So a guy like Cole Bradford, for instance, when you see someone like him get hurt, is he someone that you consider dropping, or you're like, no, I got to hold on to him. I got to wait the 2 weeks out. Cause I know baseball, it's a little different. Like you're out for 2 weeks and you're going to put in that IL kind of thing. So it's like for stuff like that, for people who are newer, who aren't as in, maybe they're just getting into fantasy baseball. We never know who's watching the show. For when we talk about players like that, where it's like Cody Bradford's going on to the IL, he's a pitcher. Obviously it's important in fantasy. Do you, look at someone like him and go, I'm okay dropping him and having to fill my lineup right away? Or is he a guy like, man, I really don't want to replace him on my roster? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think in a vacuum, I would hold. I try to be patient with these guys, assuming that you can field a full pitching roster.
Right.
Probably going to hold even if he takes up a bench spot, right? It
Gotcha.
depends how many IL spots you have too. And it also depends on points leagues versus categories. And
okay.
Right. So it depends a lot on your build. And I don't think that Cody Bradford was somebody necessarily that was drafted. He was probably a waiver pickup anyway. But if you got an IL spot, I'd stick him there and just wait. But if you can go get a guy like a Dean Kremer, or some of these, if there's like Mackenzie Gore is still out there in about 25% of leagues generally, like if you can replace him with that, I'd do it. But in general, I think I'm gonna hold on and see if he has the minimal stay on the IL before I make that decision.
Got it. Makes sense. And the last piece of news today, this is more positive news. Yeah, Andrew McCutchen, 300 home run over the weekend.
Just, how can you not love Andrew McCutchen? I think he is one of the most universally liked players maybe in all of sports. I don't think there's a person who can hate on Kutch. So cool to see him hit that milestone. He's been, he's re-signed and signed and, back and forth with the Pirates a few times now. So good for him to do it at home. And, kind of makes you wonder, is he a first ballot Hall of Famer? Is he a Hall of Famer at all? I think there's a conversation to be had. I think he is. He probably won't be first ballot, but I think he's a Hall of Famer. So just, happy to see him do that. It's cool for him as one of the, I grew up with McCutchen being in the MLB, right? Like he's been around forever now. So it's just cool to see. It's just cool to get that.
And it was a good story. A father and son caught the ball. They actually gave the ball back. It was all good news. I got to meet him.
Got to meet Kutch. It was really cool. The video, if you can find it on Twitter /X, whatever you want to call it. It's a great video. McCutchen is just like the class act. I think once he retires officially, he's going to be kind of the face of baseball. The front. I see him going either front office, probably getting into broadcasting, like wherever he ends up. McCutchen's going to be the guy.
We like guys like that, man. We like the good guys. We root for them over here.
Hard not to. It's the Greg Olsons of the world, the Andrew McCutchens of the world. Good to see him just have something positive with all the injury news and stuff lately.
So congrats to McCutchen. All right, so that's it. We covered the most significant injuries, players coming back, and potential, Hall of Fame players hitting their 300th home run. So that's it for the news and injuries. There was a bunch of other, weird stories. Did you see like the story about like the baseballs being different? Who was it that was complaining, man?
It was Kenley Jensen, I think. He
Yeah.
said that they're harder and he can't grip them now. Which, I mean, it would make sense. Harder to grip ball plus no spider tack or no sticky stuff, and I think that could be a contributing factor to all the injuries. But that's one guy. We'll see if anyone else comes out and backs him up on that.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that. I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of people pitching well though, man. So are people gonna look at him as a complainer, just making stuff up, or is there a legitimate cause to this? I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so there's a lot of other weird stuff happening. We'll see if we cover them later in the week. But yeah, that was an interesting headline that I seen pop up. All right, let's move over to waiver wire, our favoriteest time of the week, man. With the waivers, let's start with the hitters. We'll start with the hitters as always. First one on the list, Colton Cowser, Baltimore Orioles, man.
It's gross how many studs the Orioles have, man. Like just every week you hear somebody new just raking for them. So yeah, Cowser has pushed Austin Hayes out of the starting lineup, and it seems like that's going to stick. So if he's available in your leagues, in your season long leagues, definitely recommend grabbing him if you need some pop out of your outfield position. But again, when you're in that Orioles lineup, you're protected basically top to bottom. So a good guy to have, and the offense and the run support will be plentiful in that lineup.
As if the Orioles didn't have enough good news.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
As if Jackson Holiday didn't just hit a game-winning hit in his first hit, and all this other kind of stuff. Yeah,
it's when the rich get rich with the. But then, I mean, look, they've done their time. This is good. This is the turnaround that they've been building towards. So it's good to see.
That's true. Next man on the list is a Met.
I bet you're happy about this, but yeah, Brett Baty. Finally,
I'm not mad at it.
He started kind of showing the end of last year, and then he tapered off, but now he's batting above 300 to start the season. The defense looks really good. He's young, right? He's 23 years old, I believe.
Yep.
So, but now the Mets do have the luxury of getting to be a little patient and developing these guys a little bit more slowly. They're not, not to rub salt in the wound, but you don't have Verlander and Scherzer there. You're not immediately trying to compete for a World Series. Now, if they do, great, because the Mets do look surprisingly good, even with that kind of hodgepodge rotation. But I think Baty's glove plus the hot start, and he's hitting lefties, which he had trouble with last year. I think he keeps the job, and I think this is what Mets fans have been waiting for. Because correct me if I'm wrong, Neil, it has been a tough task to replace third base since David Wright left. It's been nearly impossible for the Mets to find somebody that sticks at the hot corner. So let's hope Brett Baty's the answer.
Yeah, David Wright, obviously a legend, bro. So it's definitely going to be hard to fill those shoes regardless, but it hasn't even been, halfway decent until now. So hopefully, like you said, he can stick. I think he's also on like a 7-game hitting streak. Maybe we'll, get some awesome hitting streak going. Who knows? Who knows, man? Who knows what craziness is going to happen?
7 games in and of itself is impressive. So again, it's just nice to see these guys who have a lot of prospect hype. They come up, they struggle a little bit, and then they're able to turn it around the next season. It's promising, and it shows that the Mets are being patient and letting them develop the right way. So.
Yeah. Hopefully they get some pitchers at some point here, man.
Hope so. They're coming. They're coming slowly but surely, I think.
They're coming. And the last guy on the list, I feel like we keep getting Pittsburgh players on the waivers too, don't we?
We do. Yeah.
This week it's Jack Suwinski.
Jack Suwinski, man. He is if anyone heard me during the offseason, he was one of my favorite dart throws and late round guys.
Yeah.
And then the Pirates just decided opening day, because Jack Suwinski does bat from the left side of the box. They faced 3 lefties in a row, I think, the first series. So Suwinski did not play the first 2 or 3 games of the year, which was just a big smack in the face to fantasy players over here. But he's absolutely crushing. He's inconsistent. He'll go over, but then he'll just lace doubles and home runs. So he's got a lot of pop. So in points leagues, he's a good option. I think for your fantasy bingo lineups, he's a really good kind of second outfield / utility guy, especially depending on the matchups.
Yeah, I think he actually hit a grand slam against Wheeler in the same game that McCutchen did the 300th home run.
I believe so. I
Yeah,
believe
I
that
believe so
it
too.
was, and I mean it was not a quiet home run. We'll just put it in
Yeah,
that. It was a monster. So, and Suwinski's just a guy. I think he needs more reps, and I think if he ever gets the chance to hit against lefties and he can show that he can do it somewhat consistently, then he should stick in the lineup every day eventually. And he's only
right.
25, I think, so it's there's time for him to continue developing from on the lefty on lefty matchups.
Yeah. And speaking of a team with, a bunch of, good players right now, we were talking about the Orioles a second ago, but the Pirates are another one that are, just crushing right now. So
Yeah, what a pleasant surprise. And just goes back to, I think I say this every week, sounding like a broken record, but that NL Central, man, just top down, maybe the most competitive division in baseball right now.
It's crazy.
The Cardinals are struggling a little, but they still they have enough fight in them where those games are always tough.
Yeah. All right. On to the waiver wire pitchers, starting with Dean Kremer.
14 Ks in 16.1 innings. So he's averaging a strikeout per inning, roughly. That's nice. That alone is pretty nice. And his K to walk ratio, or his K to walk ratio is roughly 7-1 when you reduce it down. So, I mean, he's not walking people. He's striking guys out. I know it's 3 starts, but and he added a splitter during the offseason. So that, he's added something to his pitch mix that is seemingly working against the hitters he's facing. And again, we keep talking about the Orioles, but though they haven't run away so far as wins, they are not short on run support for their pitching. So
right.
You can do a lot worse than Dean Kremer. I think he has moved from a streaming option in season long to more of you can throw him on the back of your bench and hold him for most of his starts moving forward.
Yeah. Some people are probably like, his last start, he got, beat up pretty bad. What are you talking about, Brian? But it's like, yeah, look at the full picture, right? I mean, it happens.
And
no
the
pitcher's
underlying
gonna,
stats,
avoid that.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to have bad ones, but overall, again, I'm going to look at the Ks. He's not walking people. He's going to have bad luck. Sometimes the defense hasn't been spot on for the Orioles. They've had, if there's one weak spot on that team, it's probably the defense, I guess. So yeah, don't read too much into single starts. Just start looking at the full picture as it develops over the first 5, 6, 7 starts.
Absolutely. The next gentleman is someone who is returning. You kind of mentioned him a little bit earlier with the Bradford situation, but Michael Lorenzen.
Michael Lorenzen, he's so now he is with the Rangers. He's coming back. I don't remember what his injury was exactly, but he's coming back off the IL. He's starting tonight for the Rangers. And in points leagues, especially on Rival for best ball for challenges, I think he's a really good option. He's we're not going to be lacking run support. Again, that's another lineup that you don't really have to worry about not scoring runs. And he's going to be an innings eater, probably. They'll probably ramp him up, but eventually, once he's back in full strength, he will definitely eat some innings for the Rangers. So I like him this week and beyond. I think he'll most likely stick in the rotation, whether he's the second guy up after an opener or if he's the 5th starter, whatever the case is. So throw him on the back of your bench, see how he does tonight, and keep an eye on it because, like we said earlier, that rotation is a little bit in flux right now. We don't know when Scherzer might be back sooner rather than later. DeGrom his return is impending. We don't know. It's probably going to be after the break, but so there's just a lot of question marks. But Lorenzen could be a good stopgap in the meantime.
Absolutely. And the last pitcher on the waiver wire list, a team that needed pitchers to step up, especially with the loss of Steele, Javier Assad, and the Cubs.
Yep. So a lot of places he's going to have starting pitcher and relief pitcher eligibility, or so we don't know if he's going to stick to the rotation when Jameson Taillon returns, which sounds like it might be this week, but it would be kind of crazy, in my opinion, if he did not. I think he's under sub 2.2 ERA, 3 starts so far. He's been giving them length. He's, getting through 5 innings, I think, in all 3 of his starts so far for the Cubs. So Javier Assad he's not a sexy name, but he's been doing this, the last few seasons now. He'll have some bad games, some bad starts. He'll get blown up a few times, but in general, he's just kind of like solid. You can ride him and kind of rely on him for most of his starts.
Yeah. How have you been feeling about the Cubs pitcher so far? I mean, obviously we talked about Steele earlier in the season. He got hurt, but I mean, Shota's been doing good, right? I mean, Shota feels like
it's been surprising. I think Imanaga has been a really nice surprise. You get to see him. I've seen. You watch some of his pitches. The movement that he gets on some of those pitches is ridiculous. So, the Cubs have a history of producing good pitching and being able to bring out the best in these guys. So, I think Assad is a good example of that. Like, kind of left for dead in his past few teams, and then he sticks with the Cubs, right? So, just another one. I think the Cubs pitching rotation is kind of just slept on, kind of like the Red Sox so far. The Cubs just have guys that get it done. They go out there, they perform. It's not flashy, but they're competing.
Absolutely. And it's needed, so they're doing good. I appreciate that. You got to appreciate a good rotation, man. You got to appreciate with these guys, especially guys who are not coming in, super hyped up or really dependent on. They just step up and are pitching well. I like when I see that kind of stuff, man. And then there's on the flip side, right? There's pitching staffs that are really hyped coming into the season. They haven't really lived up to it yet, and so it's like you never know, man. This is why it's an imperfect, game when you're playing fantasy and you're going in with all these expectations, and then some people live up to them and other people are filling in for them when you need them. You know what I mean? So it's the beauty of sports.
That's it. That's why there's 162 games, man. Everything's going to change. Everything's in flux.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of fantasy and why we're here, we might as well jump over to Rival Fantasy games at this point. I mean, why hold off anymore? Why hold off, Brian?
Give the people what they want. Give the people what they want.
Listen, it's my favorite part. We save it towards the end. We have to get, through the players that have done good. We have to get through news. We have to get through injuries. But this is what I'm waiting for the whole time, man. It's almost like I'm racing to them. So let me go ahead and bring it up on the screen. Bring it up so the world can see it with us, not just us. Let's not hide it from the world. All right, Rival Fantasy. We got it up here. Let's see. Let's start with challenges. Now, do you have challenges that you want us to create first, or should we just scroll through these and see what we're looking at?
Yeah, I've got a few. I think let's scroll through. Let's show the people some of the options, and then I've got some challenges for tonight's games in particular that I think people could get in on.
Yeah, and just again, I never know, first time watchers, if I want to make sure some people who watch it every week are probably like, hey man, you talk about this every week, but I just want to make sure that those who are new and watching are aware of what we're talking about. This is Rival Fantasy's platform, rivalfantasy.com, or you can download the app. We're looking obviously at the web version of it. This is challenges, head-to-head matchups, straight up fantasy points. It can be any positions, right? Pitchers versus pitchers, pitchers versus hitters. It doesn't matter. When you see dollar signs under the player's name, that means that there's someone who's already placed money on that player in this particular challenge. If you don't see any money, that means no one has started that challenge off yet. You can be the first if you want, or you can just keep skipping past it. So in this case, Sandoval, someone has put probably, I'm guessing $10 on them, and someone took $1 of it already. So you can do that too. If you want to take the other side, you could take $1 of it. You could take 5. You could put 10, and then there'll be a dollar bet still out there for someone. So it just depends on what you want to do. Again, if you don't like it, which Brian, do you like this one?
I'm not going to put Louis Varland up against the Orioles, man. Yeah, I don't love either of these guys tonight.
Yeah,
frankly.
If you don't like it, you just hit skip, and boom, you're at the next one. Zach Eflin versus Louis Varland, but $10 are on Eflin. I'm guessing the world is not a fan of Varland today. We talked about the Orioles, and
he has been getting smashed his last couple of starts. So, and it's tough. I mean, you go in, you play against the Orioles. It's not pretty on paper.
Yeah. So you can keep skipping through. Now someone has placed money on Varland here. This is why Rival Fantasy is awesome, man. Because somebody out there is like, you know what? I'm putting my money on Varland today. This one against Perez and the Mets. Oh man, against a pitcher against the Mets too.
Yeah. See, now this one I might take Perez and go up against Varland just to see. Right. Like this is. And again,
you can always check the stats if you're not sure what's going on. Perez has been cooking. Right? I mean, you can see the latest news. You see who they're playing again. Just another, you get all the information here, man. You know how much he weighs, Brian. We even know how much the guy weighs.
Yep. And that's important for his downhill velocity, right?
But if you thought he was going to pitch good and stifle my Mets and slow down Pete Alonso and the gang, you would click on Perez and put your money. I'm not going to do this because this is blasphemy. I'm not going against my
Hey,
Mets.
you can't do that.
But I will leave it for Brian if he wants to go in there and get it, or anyone watching.
I'm going to take
it. And again, now you got one where there's no money on it. So it just depends on, what we come across. You can also search. So if there's certain players, which we'll show you in a second here, because Brian does have, some challenges that he really likes, whether they're today, we'll see what he's got cooked up for us. But in general, you can search for players. Again, say I do want to, I'm looking just for Pete Alonso challenges to see if there's any out there that people were, betting on. I put on Pete, and then challenges start coming up, and I can, skip through them and do what I want to do. See if there's any challenges. For, here again, someone's going to get, is rooting for Pete Alonso, so I'm not going to double down on it. I'm not really going to keep putting money on top of stuff, but you just go through them. You look for what you want. I don't see. I don't know if I've really seen it a lot. Sometimes we don't get ones that we like, necessarily popping up right off the rip. But like, for instance, say you want to be the one to start something.
Like, this is an interesting one.
Lewis Gill and Cole Irvin is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this one. I think I'd probably take the Cole Irvin side, but I can argue, I think, both sides.
Yeah. So I would go like this. We'll just do it. $5, place the bet. And also, when I think about it, sometimes I'm always like, okay, because when you go through them, sometimes you're like, when you're creating challenges or you're putting money on sides, sometimes I try to get crafty with it, right? Like, I'm like, all right, there's a lot of Yankee fans out there. They got a lot of pride. You know what I mean? So when I see a Yankee player on the other side, if I do like the other side, I'm like, I think there might be a bold Yankee fan out there, that wants to get in the mix. So I do think about stuff like that when I'm looking through these challenges. It really gets me digging deep in my strategies. Yep. So I do, get that mindset going. Let's look at some of the ones that you wanted to create, so we can show off social challenges as well.
Yep. So I think we talked about Michael Lorenzen. So I think I want to get some action on him. This is going to be a same game challenge against Reese Olsen for the Tigers. I talked up Reese Olsen last week. He's been solid, and I think I'm going to take the Olsen side, even with the Rangers offense playing against him. I want to see what Olsen can do in this matchup.
Yeah, so this is a fun one. All right, so how much you want to put down on this one?
Let's throw a 10 spot on him.
Yeah. All right. And again, I will be posting these on social. So if you're interested, or again, if you're in the chat right now watching live, I'll also drop the link in there so you have first shots at it. Well, that's just a benefit to being in here live with us.
Yep.
Or you can catch it after the fact and hopefully find it on our socials still if no one's taking it. That's up to the world. We'll see how they do that. All right, so that's the first challenge we got out there. So that is now in the chat.
Yep.
Let's do at least one or two more if you have any.
Yep. So we're gonna do lefty on lefty hitters, outfielders. We're gonna do Jack Suwinski because he's the man. I've been talking him up. He's feast or famine, but I like him today against the Mets. And then we're gonna go with Nolan Jones for the Rockies. He's been struggling. He's batting like sub 200, but he laced some doubles this weekend. He's looking good. But I'm going to take the Suwinski side tonight. Yeah,
all right,
we'll throw a 10 spot on that.
We'll do another 10 spot. He's going against my Mets, so hopefully he struggles, but it's not likely. I think the Mets are throwing Hauser out there.
They are throwing Adrian Hauser out there, which is part of the reason I liked Suwinski tonight. Yeah. Not that Hauser's bad. Hauser's an innings eater guy. He's he'll get the job done. But not flashy.
I understand what you're targeting here, man. I understand what you're doing.
And then my last one, these are the late game ones. So we're gonna go with Sonny Gray versus Tyler Glasnow.
A little Sonny Gray action.
Sonny Gray up against Oakland, and then Glasnow up against the Nationals. I think you could go either way, but I'm going to take Sonny Gray tonight. I know the Athletics have actually been very overperforming, but I think Sonny Gray is going to go in. Also, kind of a revenge game. He did start his career with the Athletics way back when, so we'll go with that narrative.
And again, that's one where I feel like this will be very tempting to anybody out there, especially Dodger fans. They're going to see that and go, you're going against my boy Glasnow? Are you crazy?
Look, I'm not saying Glasnow's not going to eat tonight. I'm not saying that.
Right.
I think Sonny Gray playing against the Athletics it's a nice little matchup.
Yeah, and you're going to want to make challenges like that. Like I come across them once in a while where people are just totally lopsided out there. And it's like, we're not taking it, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're creating the challenges for nothing in reality. So these kind of challenges are much more realistic. This is the lines that you want to stay along because again, if you get too crazy and you get too lopsided, you're more than likely not going to get it unless, you're arguing with a friend or somebody at work and they're like, just prideful and their ego is going to let them take it. But typically you're not going to get another user that doesn't know you to just come along and grab it. You know what I mean? That's just the way it goes.
But hey, if somebody wants to, let their pride dictate where their cash goes, capitalize on that.
Absolutely. For sure. All right, before we jump over there, I think I got a free card I need to do, man. I think I got a free card.
Let's shuffle bonus game.
Let's get a little free bonus game, man. Let's shuffle these bad boys up. Where do I want to go? I'm going to go with the left card today. Hey, I got another ticket. Let's use it again. Let's use it right now. Maybe I'll stick with my left side. They're trying to throw me off, man. Okay. There you go. I'll take the dollar bonus. I ain't mad at that for free.
That sounds like a free bingo card to me.
It does sound like a free bingo card, which we're going to jump into right now. Pools at $70-some, man. I seen someone knock it off earlier, man, the other day. It was like $200-something bucks. Yeah. And I woke up and I seen it at $0 the next day and I said, it wasn't me. Damn it.
It wasn't me. Wasn't me either, man. I've been getting cleaned out on bingo lately. Cleaned out.
It wasn't me, man. All right, let's do a bingo card. What do we got? Are we going to stick with names that we spoke about today? We're going to mix it up a little bit.
So I kind of want to mix it up a little bit. So just so people know kind of what my strategy is for bingo, right? Like,
okay.
I'm looking at, what are the good matchups for pitchers, but also the ones that could be considered traps, right? So if they blow up, you have a chance of getting some of those negative achievements on your bingo card, but if they perform well, you're going to capture all of the positive ones. So, still targeting Oakland, Miami, the Angels, Colorado, right? So I like guys like Zach Eflin, Kyle Harrison, Sonny Gray, Aaron Nola. And even, honestly, Seth Lugo's not a bad choice tonight either against the White Sox. The poor White Sox.
I was going to say, it's not.
They're going through the ringer. So that's kind of who I'm looking at. I think you could, but I think Zach Eflin against the Angels, good bounce back opportunity for him. He hasn't been the Zach Eflin we saw last year.
Yeah. And I know you said Harrison, right?
I did. Yeah. Kyle Harrison for the Giants. And then my other one, I love Sonny Gray against Oakland tonight. I really do.
Okay, cool. All right, good. So that's your starting pitchers. Now let's get some infielders in here.
So is there anyone you're targeting tonight? Are you
I feel like, man, I always say O'Neal Cruz, and now he's playing the Mets, and I feel like that's kind of a gimme. But I also see your boy Altuve here.
And Altuve, look, you never want to chase performances, but 2 home runs yesterday for Altuve.
Yeah, let's get him on there.
The legend grows. You just the man is unreal. So
yeah. So let's get him on there. We have talked about, again, I'm a shortstop guy. There's plenty of good shortstops on here, but I don't want to, force us into the shortstop category. I know you have your eyes on somebody else too. Yeah. There's so many good infielder options though, man.
Surprisingly, Willy Adames has been a stud to start the season. I don't think we're talking about him enough. So I like Willy Adames just kind of in general I know you said get off the shortstop train, but why get off the train when the ride is so smooth?
It's hard. It's hard to do, man. It's hard to do. All right, we need 2 outfielders. Are we gonna go? I don't know, man. Listen. When I've been doing best ball drafts, because I do them every day. Don't judge me. When I do them, whether it's a daily one or a weekly one, I notice that sometimes people I'm going against, or even when I'm just looking at the list of players there, sometimes you're looking at these big names and you want to take them, but they're not necessarily performing all the time. And there's guys who are, not the big names. And you're like, man, I really think I'm just going to go non-big names here. You know what I mean? And it feels weird. It always feels weird when you're doing best ball and you're leaving these guys' names on the board, right? Julio Rodriguez, who has struggled to start the year, and, other guys just they haven't been hot like other players have that are, again, not the bigger name players.
Yes.
And so,
and that's the beauty of best ball, right? Is you get to go capitalize on these hot streaks, these performances that You would not have been able to anticipate when you're doing
Right.
your full
And
season.
bingo is another opportunity there. I mean,
Yes.
honestly, all the games kind of lend to that, right? I mean, that we have, on Rival Fantasy, but we could do that here in bingo too. So, I mean, if you have some outfielders that are off the beaten path, they're not the Ronald Acunas and, Alvarez's.
And I know he's at the top of that list, but Gavin Sheets is right now probably the best hitter for the White Sox. And I know we just kind of gave the White Sox a hard time, but he's in the middle of that lineup. He's going to get your ribbies.
Yeah.
And then another one, Jake Fraley for the Reds. He has been just super hot lately, and he has pretty much the everyday job. He and Benson both got benched on Saturday for the lefty on lefty matchup, but who cares? Put Fraley in your lineup until otherwise, I think.
A teammate of Spencer Steer, who we've also been talking about recently.
We've also, been again, the Reds, they just keep kind of like the Pirates, man. Again, the NL Central, I think you can just pick anyone from the NL Central and you're going to be relatively happy with the performance.
Yeah. All right. And then we need 2 utility players, which again, utility could be outfield or infield. You don't have to get stuck in a box there on either of those. What are you thinking, man? Do we go with a player we talked about today, or do we totally go crazy off the list?
I mean, I think I like seeing Brett Baty on here.
Okay.
I think, let's capitalize on it. We've been kind of giving the Mets a hard time too, and this is an opportunity for them to prove us wrong.
Yeah. And then we need one more player.
And I know he's kind of chalky, but Seiya Suzuki has just, he's the epitome of consistency. So we're going like really heavy right fielders tonight. And so keep in mind, right, when you do this, your achievements do not stack. So just because you have 3 right fielders, if one of the achievements is 5 RBIs from your right fielder, one guy has to get that, right? And you're never going to have that achievement. But so just know that going in.
Right. So I'll go ahead and make 5 cards. And then again, for anyone new who's not familiar with, bingo, basically you'll be able to look at your card after the fact. You'll see the different achievements, that you're looking to hit. And again, what Brian was referring to, right fielder, it has positions under them. So you want to just make sure,
Man, that card is ruthless. That's
some of them are ruthless, man. That's the way the game goes, right? That's bingo. That's bingo in general. Can't be a cakewalk, or there'll never be money here for us to win.
Let's see, more than 5 innings pitched. I'd be shocked if Zach Eflin didn't go 6 tonight. 40 strikes. I think Kyle Harrison's going to do that on his own, right? But then you get reached on error twice because you are getting some brutal achievements in these cards, man.
Let's check the next one out. Whoa, 40 strikes. Okay. Grand slam action.
Hey, if anyone's going to do it, I mean, Altuve might as well, right?
Hit by pitch. Like this is important to see these kind of things. So we want the viewers to know, like, it's not always a positive thing, right? 2 errors. There's very creative ones. 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. So like there's so many ways. And again, people are winning because the pool keeps dropping. So it's not me. I didn't win. Like I said, last time the pool was up, I think it was over $200 last week, and I didn't win it. And
that's the beauty of it, right? Is you get to go in and you're going to see, okay, you're going to have a bunch of different constructions of achievements and what you're working with here, but this is how kind of what you're up against on the daily.
Right? And just to give an idea of what a winning card looks like, I do this sometimes. I can
occasionally. I don't remember what a winning card looks like. I haven't seen that in months, but
it happens.
It's good to see it.
It happens. So, all right. So that's the bingo card. The last thing we want to do is a best ball draft. We like to knock one of these out before we end the show.
What you'll see in the lobby right now is it's for tomorrow for the daily drafts, because there is a makeup game that is being played right now between the Guardians and the Red Sox. That is in progress. So now all of our drafts are for tomorrow moving forward. Just a weird one-off that I don't think that there's going to be a Monday 11 a.m. start time very often. So
but definitely let's get these week-long ones going. All right, you want to do one for tomorrow then?
Yeah, man. I think let's do that $5 MLB $5. Tuesday. Let's do this. And so this is an opportunity to remind everybody: go check who is starting when. This is going to be different from what we just talked about. So you're going to have starters like Ranger Suarez, Grayson Rodriguez, Casey Mize, Reynaldo Lopez, Hunter Brown, Hunter Green, right? Like that's who you're looking at tomorrow instead of today. So
And then, of course, again, this one, when you do get refer a friend bonuses or you get the vouchers, you can go ahead and use these for stuff like this. So you can do, whatever you want, or you can just use their money that you deposited. It's totally up to you. But like, for instance, I'm going to use $5 of my vouchers, man. Why not, right?
We like it.
Why not do it? And again, perfect opportunity. You definitely want to queue players, of course, because the queue isn't necessarily going to be your friend. So if you don't use it, the auto pick can do you dirty.
Avoid the auto pick wherever you can. Set your own queue. Take care of your lineups.
You definitely want to do that. So again, this is for tomorrow. So if you're watching live right now, or you're listening after the fact, these are not pitchers we're pitching today. So when we get our one pitcher in there, we want to make sure they are playing tomorrow. So like you said, Mize is pitching tomorrow. I'm trying to think of who I like tomorrow though.
Yeah, Grayson Rodriguez could be an interesting pick. I think Aaron Savale for the Braves. You got some options. Jared Jones for the Pirates, Jose Quintana for the Mets. I think that could actually be a much better pitching matchup than people might think tomorrow. Yeah. So keep an eye on that one. One of my favorites is I like the Tanner Bibby versus Garrett Whitlock matchup, the Guardians versus the Red Sox. I think both of those guys could be good options. There's a lot of good guys going tomorrow. Brady Singer against the White Sox.
That's a beautiful one.
It's a juicy matchup for him.
That's probably one of the best ones, right? I mean, that's how I look at it.
I agree with you. And then you also have the Dodgers haven't decided who they're running out, but the Nationals are starting Patrick Corbin. He's gone from being a guy who used to be reliable to the last 3 years, arguably the worst statistical pitcher in baseball. So you could probably run out whoever the Dodgers decide, and it would be fine.
That reminds me, we did get a win on one of the I think it was a video from last week. I take the live videos and I kind of repurpose them and make them the regular video on the channel, and someone had went in the comments of that video and said George Kirby and Bobby Miller are way overhyped. This was from DGO Videos 4676. What do you think about his comment, man?
I think it's easy to say right now just because the Mariners are struggling a little bit. I think that, but again, that whole division is struggling. So
yeah,
you said George Kirby and who were overhyped?
Bobby Miller, I believe the Dodgers he's referring to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I can see that. I think they got the bump from the team recognition, the name recognition.
Yeah.
I think George Kirby does have a lot of potential. I think he's trying to do too much, right? Apparently he's trying to add a knuckleball to his pitch mix, and it's like, that's cool, that's fun, it is cool. I mean, it would be great to see a knuckleball in the big leagues, but I don't know if he's overhyped necessarily. I think it's just there's been a lot of hype around the Mariners rotation in general. So I don't know. I think with Bobby Miller, same thing, right? Could be overhyped, but he's also a Dodger. The Dodgers are notorious for putting out really good pitchers. So, I'm not going to say that they're going to win Cy Youngs, but I'm also not going to shy away from them in best ball drafts.
Right, absolutely.
Especially if that knuckleball does come to fruition. I'll probably be betting against George Kirby, but just because it's more fun to do that.
Yeah. And again, it's super early, right? So it's like so easy to say, "Oh, this player sucks," or "He was overhyped." Like, I mean, we're like they've probably started at the most 2-3 games so far. Like, what I mean? Like,
I can't make any conclusions or any inferences probably until May at the earliest, right? Like, you gotta let things start to shake out. Let guys get some starts under their belt. Some of these pitchers aren't even fully stretched out, right? They're still hitting pitch limits around 80, 90 for some of these guys. Unless you're Ronel Blanco and you're throwing a no-hitter in your first start of the season. But, a lot of these guys are not breaking the 100 pitch mark anytime soon.
Right.
So, patience. We'll hold our judgment until later in the year.
I agree. Slow down.
Emotional damage.
Slow down, guys.
That sounds like somebody who may have been burned by George Kirby and Bobby Miller in the past, in the recent past.
Yeah.
So I get it, man. I get it.
They had a rough week. All right, we're on the clock, and you are up
All
first,
right,
Brian.
I'm up first. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna grab my pitcher at the top. It's too
I
good
knew
a
you were going
matchup.
to do that.
It's
knew it.
too good a matchup. I gotta take Brady Singer off the
I
rip.
knew you were
I
going to
gotta
do
do
that.
it.
I knew you were going to do that, and now I don't have to, I guess, because I was going to do the same thing.
Yep. I had to. I knew you were gonna try to block me from him,
Yep.
so I had to take him.
I was. You were exactly right, sir. All right. Let's see. Since you threw me off a little bit there, who do I want to go with? Oh man, I was gonna throw you off with that one. And now I don't have to take a picture because now you already took them, so that at least holds that off for me. I'm just gonna go with a man. I kind of want Bobby Witt. He's been playing pretty well. He's got the White Sox coming up, so I'm gonna go there to get my first infielder.
Yep, I like that.
And then again, I gotta think of guys who aren't necessarily at the top. But I do also want to think about some guys that we talked about today because it's a little more fun for me when I get those guys in the mix sometimes too. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna get my infield set.
Oh, Elly. Okay. All right. It's funny. I'm glad you went there because now I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get both my infielders here. I'm gonna take O'Neal Cruz, and then we talked about him earlier. Rival of the week, William Contreras.
Look at you, so sir.
I'm just gonna load up on my infield right there.
All right. I think. Let's see. For my outfit, I kind of like Schwarber. I like his matchup against the Rockies. I'm hoping for a home run or something. I may also go our boy Jones that you spoke about earlier, but yeah, I think I'm gonna go Schwarber just to mix it up because I don't have him a lot of places. I try to again when I do these drafts, like you're catching me at different times. Sometimes I haven't done a lot this week. Sometimes I have done a lot. I have done a few, so I try to mix them up. So sometimes you're just catching me when I'm mixing it up a little bit for myself. So I'm gonna get Schwarber. I feel like home runs come up big here for me. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times when I win, my guy hit a home run.
Yep.
And that was the big, difference maker for me.
You got to go for upside in these, especially when it's head to head, right? Like you're not at a loss of guys to pick from, so then you have to go. What's the matchup? Who are they playing against? What's the park? What's the weather? Like you got to start playing those matchups. So.
Yeah.
All right, so I need 2 outfielders and a utility. So I'm going to go just deep into the list here. A guy who, I like their matchup against the Nationals this week. I'm going to take Teoscar Hernandez.
He's a favorite of yours.
And then look, he's still staying hot. You posted it yesterday, the highlight reel. Lourdes Gurriel.
Yeah, I did post it. Yeah, he's been
unbelievable.
Crushing.
He's been great lately.
I didn't know he was gonna stay. I didn't know if he was gonna stay that. I thought he was gonna be like it was just a first week thing. He was gonna taper off, but
he doesn't have to be the guy, so he gets to kind of have fun and relax, which is good.
I'm gonna go Alonso, even though it's the Pirates. I know they're hot, but I'm gonna take that chance. I kind of feel like I'm gonna go Grayson, man.
Little Grayson Rodriguez. I like it. I do like that. And then who would I be if I didn't take at least one Astro? Take my boy Jose Altuve.
I should have took him after you took Singer. Just had to get some block in there.
It's okay. I would have taken Jordan at that point. So.
Oh yeah, okay. You would have covered your bases one way or the other. All right, and then this is what happens after the draft. You just see who you drafted. Obviously, this is best ball, so you don't have to manage anything. You don't have to do nothing. It'll take care of it for you. You can go to the stand-ins where I always outrank Brian.
Yeah. Well, you always outrank me, but you never seem to win. It's really weird how that happens.
Yeah, sure. I need to like take a screenshot or remember a game that we're in with each other so I can bring it up on the screen and gloat every week. But I forget after the fact.
You really dig into me when I talk all this smack and then I get absolutely throttled.
Exactly. So. All right, so that's it, man. That was challenges, bingo. We got our best ball draft in. It's not going to stop for me. I'm not going to stop just because we're done with the show. You know what I mean? They're going to keep on dropping. I'm going to get in
all these best ball drafts. I have moved in. We are back. I am going to be drafting like a madman.
It's a beautiful thing. And again, if you want to play with us, follow on social or watch the live show. This way you actually see us post those. When they go up on social, I can't promise how long they'll last there for. So again, if you watch the live show, you'll know right away that it's out there. But if you don't, and you're listening either through the podcast or you're watching the video after the fact, then you might just be catching links that are already filled. But always check just in case. But follow on, Rival Fantasy on all the different platforms, X, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. And then, of course, subscribe to the channel, like this video. Brian, Is there anything else that we have not covered that we need to cover before we bounce?
No, just and keep enjoying the baseball, guys. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
And also, just remember, this is why we punt pitching, everything happening. Late round pitchers will save you in your season long leagues. Keep working the wire. Keep playing best ball. Enjoy. This is what baseball is all about.
Absolutely, for sure. And like I said, guys, we appreciate the support. Subscribe, like the video. Go create an account on Rival Fantasy. The link in the description will actually get you a special offer, so take advantage of that. But again, we love talking with you guys baseball. So whether it's in the chat, whether it's in the comments after the fact, it doesn't matter. We leave no comment unanswered. We don't, let your comment just sit there and ignore you. So whatever it is, we appreciate, you guys interacting with us, because we don't want you just to hear us talk. We want to hear from you guys. So we always, enjoy the interaction wherever you're doing it, whether it's on social, YouTube, in the comments, after the fact, the live, it doesn't matter. All right, that is it for today. That is it for our live stream this week. Check out the rest of the week. That's why I say subscribe, because there's going to be tons of videos and on social stuff that we post. So go check them out. But that is it for me. I'm Neil again. He is Brian. This is Rival Fantasy Live for Fantasy Baseball, and we are out.